Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to our brothers who are fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to the sincere Akwath, and Shalom to the scattered Israelites who are amongst these heathen nations and look like these heathens. Now, this lesson is going to be based on some heavy judgment from the Lord in the form of a head-on crash involving a car and a van that left one man dead. So through the Spirit, I'm going to read this article, get some precepts, and Lord's will you're edified. It says a man was killed in a head-on crash in Philadelphia's Tacony neighborhood late Tuesday night, police said. Just after 10 p.m. on Tuesday, June 16, 2026, police said officers and medics responded to the 7200 block of Torresdale Avenue after receiving reports of a crash. Police said that at the scene, officers found an Infiniti G35 and a Nissan NV 3500 van had been involved in a head-on collision. Two brothers were in the Infiniti, an 18-year-old driver and a 23-year-old front seat passenger. According to police, neither was wearing a seatbelt and both suffered head injuries. The 23-year-old passenger, identified as Darius Santoni, was taken to a nearby hospital and died a short time later. The 18-year-old driver is in critical condition, police said. An investigation revealed that the Infiniti was traveling northbound on Torresdale Avenue when it swerved around a double-parked vehicle and entered the southbound lane. The Infiniti then collided head-on with the southbound van. The van's 42-year-old driver and front seat passenger was not injured, according to police. Police said the van driver had initially left the scene on foot after a crowd gathered around the van and he felt threatened, but he later returned and is cooperating with the investigation. Both vehicles had heavy front-end damage, and police said speed may have been a factor in this collision. Crash investigators are checking nearby surveillance cameras to see if the incident was recorded. No arrests or charges have been filed at this time, police said. Yeah, so this is basically what recklessness gets you. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand going around a double parked vehicle because it's like, what else are you supposed to do? But a lot of people, they don't pay attention. You know, they just make a reckless move, and this is what ends up happening. And to be honest, the 23-year-old should have been the one driving, not the 18-year-old, because the 18-year-old more than likely had a lot less experience. Had the 23-year-old been driving, if the 23-year-old had a license, more than likely this wouldn't have happened. But then again, this was the judgment of the Lord, so, it could have happened either way, if that's what the Lord wanted. Psalms 9:16. The Lord Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Hegion Selah. Yes, so ultimately this head-on crash that resulted in the 23-year-old dying and the 18-year-old being in critical condition was judgment from the Lord. The Lord set that whole thing in motion, and it played out how he wanted it to. Deuteronomy 32:39. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no power with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. And in this judgment, the Lord killed the 23-year-old and critically wounded the 18-year-old in this head-on crash with that van. 1 Samuel 2:6. The Lord Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. Yeah, so ultimately the Heavenly Father is the one who killed that 23-year-old because the Lord put that scenario in motion to where, the 18-year-old was driving. It was a double parked car, and the 18-year-old swerved around it to get around it and ended up in opposite lanes where they went head on with the van. And the Lord set that whole thing in motion, and it played out how the Lord intended for it to play out. Job 4:7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? And the answer is nobody has perished being innocent. So that 23-year-old who died was not innocent in the eyes of the Lord. And as unfortunate for them as it is, they were the one who was meant to perish. They were the one who was meant to die. Salakia. Verse 8, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. And this is ultimately how it ends for wicked people, whether they be wicked men, wicked women, or wicked children. The end result is that they die. Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Verse 2, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And for that 23-year-old, it was just his time to die. And there was nothing that could have been done to prevent that judgment from taking place, apart from the Heavenly Father himself not wanting it to happen in the first place. Hebrews 10:31, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. And that's right, because look at this whole situation. Even though the driver and the passenger in the van were not injured, it's still a scary situation to be in. A head-on crash like that. Like, nobody wants to be involved in that. And then, you have the 18-year-old in critical condition, and the 23-year-old is dead. And it just reminds you of why you always have to be very careful out here. Me personally, I'm on the road like almost every day, and I see how reckless people drive, especially at night. Weaving in and out of traffic, running stop signs, running red lights, driving with no headlights on, like people do very stupid, reckless, dangerous things on the road. It's just another reason for those of us of the hopeful elect to stay prayed up. Pray when you first wake up, pray before you leave the house, because there's a lot of people who never make it back home. Like, it's a very, very dangerous world that we live in. There's a lot of people out here who unfortunately do not think before they act. They just make a move and hope for the best, basically. And that's basically what happened in this particular case. The 18-year-old saw a double parked car, swerved around them, ended up in opposite lanes, and went head on with a van. It's just reacting without thinking. And you see how that has ended. But first and foremost, we constantly have to check ourselves and examine ourselves to make sure that we're doing things which are pleasing in the sight of the Lord. Because the Lord is ultimately the one who decides whether you live or die and how that's going to play out. You don't want to fall into the hands of the Lord, because we see on a daily basis the end result of that. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. In closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakudash, the Wadi Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to the sincere Akwath, which are the sincere sisters. And shalom to the scattered Israelites who are amongst these heathen nations and look like these heathens. Hope you all stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up, and Adawan Ratazah. Till next time, shalom.